Yes, people, this evening we've got a very special guest on Man Them Chat. You know, we've got Lorna Markland, co-founder of the make sure I get this right, African Caribbean Community Development Forum, otherwise known as the ACCDF. She's going to be discussing their works in the local community and also the work, how they're supporting people to access payments from the Windrush compensation scheme. Welcome to MDC, Lorna.
Welcome,
thank you.
Lorna.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
So Lorna, you want to give us a little bit of a background, personal background, you know, where?
Okay. Born and bred in Luton, and married to Patrick Markland. My family were they came over from Jamaica. My mum and dad and my brothers and sister came over, and they sort of my mum was the banker for the partner. They used to do a lot of, they had a lot to support people. So I think I've carried on a lot in the community organising and community advocacy and helping people. I think I get it's in my blood from them, really. And then I married somebody who was had it in their blood as well. So so Patrick was really sort of just really distressed about he had a record shop. He was the one that started ACCDF, and I helped him, so I supported him to do it, but it was his idea. He had a record, he was selling records, he had a record shop, and Mark used to work in the record shop in the early. Yeah. When Ricky first set the shop up, Mark came and he said, "Do you need any staff?" Ricky said, "No, I can't afford it." The next day, Mark come back. Mark said, "You sure you don't need any staff? You want some staff?" And then one day he came back and the shop was busy, and Mark just found himself around the counter, and he just started to serve the customers. And he was really he loved his music, and he was a very good member of staff for many years at working with Patrick. So
that's Rhythm Shack, yeah? Rhythm Shack.
Yeah, Rhythm Shack, that's right. So Ricky had his shop, the Rhythm Shack, and all kinds of things were happening. They wanted to shut down Starlight Youth Club, and at the same time they sold the building in Berry Park next to Kentucky, where our elders used to meet. It was a social services building, and they used to go there for daycare. And they sold the building, and the elderly, they were going around to other different daycare centres. They went to Woodland Avenue, and it was a different culture. So it was an elderly day centre, but it was for mainly white people, and they were saying, "Oh, we don't like the smell of the cooking, the food, we don't like the fish." And so our elders, they just felt like they really were wandering around the wilderness and had just been rejected. So they asked Ricky and the chair at the time, Minister David Campbell from Beulah Church. He was involved in the early setting up as well. We just really went out and said, all these people who's passionate about improving the Black community locally, and he answered the call and came and helped us. So they asked us to go to the council and complain for them. So we did. We went. Ricky paid his money and had a council meeting. He paid his £60 and he booked a meeting at the town hall, and he basically said, "You're not treating the Black community properly. You're not treating the Black community right. If you close down Starlight Youth Club, the youth are going to end up on the street. Then it's going to be an issue with the police. Then you're dealing with our elders like this. It's not good enough." So he's called it out for what it was: institutional racism. And so we had a series of meetings with the council, which led to them building Trinity Road Daycare Centre for the elders. So they've sold it now, but that was the replacement. And it was they stopped the closure of Starlight as well. We had to do that a few times, but Ricky just thought, you know what, toying between the idea of giving up the record shop and doing the community work full time. So he did end up giving up the shop, and we set up the group because the council was saying, oh, we don't know where to find the Black community. So we set up the group. You know, other people came on board, a lot of the early people. I don't know if you know Jackie Benny, she was the secretary at that time, and quite a few people. Some of them have moved out of England now and living in Africa, living in African countries, but they were all part of the early ACCDF. And then we decided that we needed to, all the little groups and all the, we needed to come together and fight with one voice, because what was happening was that they'd give money to the town, but the Black community wouldn't get 1 pence of that money. So all the groups like St Kitts and Nevis and St Vincent and Grenadines and different people, the Dominoes Club and, you know, about 13 different organisations, they all had a space on ACCDF so that we could kind of an umbrella group, and we could bring in resources and divide it up amongst the group and deal with issues. It wasn't really about dealing for things for ourselves. So we were dealing with education, mental health, social and culture, and finances, you know, at that time. So there was so many issues, and some of the early work was like the food in the hospital. We had so many complaints from people that had their people in L&D, and they had to be cooking 3 times a day and bringing up to their family members, because their family members wouldn't eat the food. They couldn't really handle the mashed potato and the food, and it was having an adverse impact on their medication. So when they wouldn't eat, they couldn't really take the medication. So we campaigned and said, you need to have some Black food on the menu. And you need to, and it's not just about that, having the Black food on the menu for the patients, it's also about the businesses. We've got all these businesses here, and they're not getting any opportunity to be used, you know, to be on your suppliers list. So we went and we had a couple of tasting sessions with them, and they put the food on the menu, and it's still there to this day, but you have to ask for it. They don't promote it very well. If you go to the hospital, you can say, oh, can I see what's on the African Caribbean menu? And you can get, you know, African Caribbean food. But yeah, those are some of, sorry?
Lorna, the food in the hospital is very, I think it's quite, it's not really all that nice. It's not good food, is it? Because it's frozen food for a start. It's frozen and it doesn't taste nice at all, really. So it's not the real authentic stuff, is it?
The general or the African Caribbean, the general stuff or the African Caribbean food?
Well,
you're talking about?
Yeah, the African Caribbean food.
Yeah.
I mean, when I used to be in there, it never used to be all that good at all, really.
It's gone. It's gone right downhill. I think with cuts and everything, they just wanted to pay about £2 odd for it, you know. And when they started it was they were using some of the local restaurants, but then as they started to cut, they started to want to freeze it. You're right. So they wanted to freeze it, and it's just, yeah, it's not good. But what we were thinking, what we were at that time, what we were trying to, there was a huge gap we were missing. Everybody's food was getting catered for, and they could get their halal, and different people could get different food.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and we were just missing, so we were just invisible. So, you know, those were some. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry to jump in. It's a shame that you have to even
jump in.
Yeah, it's a shame that you have to even ask for it. There should be the menu at the side. You should have to read the menu and see and say, you know, I love that. Selfish and
absolutely. But that's what we were finding. We were finding that we were here, we were paying tax, our community. We had a good little sized community here. And, you know, you'd go to meetings. I remember in the early days, you'd go to meetings and the people were tired of the onion bhaji and because, you know, every single meeting, it was the Asian caterers that was providing for the meeting. And even the white people were saying, oh gosh, we're fed up with. At first they really liked it, they enjoyed it, but it was just, and we were saying, yeah, it's also an economic thing, because we've got so many caterers and none of them are getting a look in to come and provide. Look how many meetings the council have, you know. So that was
do you think that they was paying more than £2 odd for the Asian meal to what you saying they was willing to pay for a Caribbean meal? What do you think?
They told us that they were paid, that it was the same for everybody, but I think they were paying more. I believe that they were paying more. Definitely for the council meetings, that never had any £2 stipulation to it. That was just, you know, you could charge, say, £10 a head or £20 a head, and they would be the people to provide for the meetings. So they just had, because there was a lot of councillors, there still is quite a lot of Asian councillors, and they know their friends and they know their you know, businesses and that, and the council would put them on the suppliers list and use them, but no black organisation was on the suppliers list. So what we done, we got a few of them. Pansy, you know, Myrna, Pansy Pantry, we got we got her. Yeah, we got her on the suppliers list. We've got quite a few. We opened up the way. We said whatever it is that they need to do, because they always have a way of saying, oh, you know, they haven't got the capacity to deliver, and they haven't got this ready and they haven't got that ready. And we said, well, what are you doing to get them, to capacity build them and get them ready? So we took them to like quite a few people down the process of what would be required to be able to be on the public, not just the council, but the NHS as well, their suppliers list. So they had to have their food hygiene, they had to have different things, and we just asked the council to take them through that. And then a few people did, you know, get on, a few organizations. So that's the type of work that ACCDF kind of was doing in the beginning, just trying to have some representation and bridge this gap of where we were so invisible, you know. And then we joined up with Nyabinghi Fitzroy from Nyabinghi. He was the vice chair at that time, and we supported Nyabinghi to split the budget. So it was Ashanti and Roshni, which is the Asian. Ashanti is the African Caribbean Mental Health Service, and Roshni was the Asian, and they were based in Marsh Road there. I don't know if you know, opposite the British Legion. Yeah, that's where they used to be based. The other down by Roman Road Bridge kind of area, right. You know, yeah, sort of in the middle there.
Oh, so are they still going? Are they still operating? Because I think they're closed now, aren't they?
They're still operating, you know, but they operate from Ambleside.
Oh,
yeah,
right. Yeah.
From a place, a little community.
Oh, yeah, Ambleside. Is it 19A Ambleside? Is it?
That's the one.
Oh,
yeah,
right, okay.
They're in there. They're in there. Vanna is still there, and a few of the service users are still there. I still see them, and they've dwindled down a lot because a lot of people have passed on, and you know, and the service has come right down. Money, you know, you cuts. Yeah, it's hard to deliver everything, but they're still operating, which is a good thing. Yeah, so we worked with them. We worked with Steve Stevenson, Mark's bigger brother at the time. That was the manager of Ashanti at the time, and ACCDF and Ricky worked with him and to oppose the council putting the budget together, because what they used to do is just have one budget, and Roshni, the Asian mental health service, they'd go on holiday, they'd go here, they'd go to the seaside, they'd go here, and they'd clean out the budget. There was no money left for anybody else, and they just kept doing it year after year. So we said, no, this cannot work, this is not right. So we pushed for them to separate the budget, and you know, so that Ashanti could have their budget and do their things, and Roshni could have their budget. So yeah, that was some of the some more of the early work. And you know, then I was a governor at Lee Manor School, And I went to a awards evening at Denby where they had all the schools and they were awarding everybody. And when I went in there, they had different music, Bhangra, and all this everything was mainly Asian. And they had all these people performing, and then they gave out the awards to every single school in Luton, they gave out the awards to. And there was not one black child that got an award, and it burnt me to my core. At the end of the meeting, everybody was rushed up there and was arguing. No, actually, one black child got an award out of the whole ceremony, and it was a girl that had cerebral palsy, and she had a award for having a good attitude with her disability. And I just thought it was just really appalling. I'd left the place crying. And I just said, you know what? We're going to do our own awards. We're going to do our own. Yeah. At that time, I don't know if you guys remember New Deal for Communities. Remember Marsh Farm, the £200 million that we were supposed to get?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, that they had come in, they were in operation at the time. And me and Ricky sat down and we wrote one letter to Tony Descent. He was the education manager at the time for Luton Borough Council. We wrote a letter to him saying it was appalling that there was, look how many black pupils there are, and they couldn't see fit to give one award they couldn't see fit to award anybody academically or for trying. And he came back with a really crazy response to say basically that there wasn't anybody good enough.
Wow.
So we got together with Pastor Trevor and Bob Baker and quite a few of all the people that were doing community work at that time. You know, we had a big meeting, round table meeting with them, and said, absolutely no way can you be having such a low expectation of the black community, and we need a strategy. And when we looked at the GCSE results, it was only 23% of people that were getting 5 A to C GCSE pass rates. So we said we need a strategy to lift it up, and we need to encourage the ones that are achieving, because there must be some that are achieving. So we put a strategy together, and we, over 5 years, we brought in some different programs, and we've done some different pieces of work. We set up the little awards evening. We done 12 of them in a row, and we wrote to all the schools, and we said, bring forward the African Caribbean people that are achieving, bring forward the ones that are trying and that have got a good attitude, and don't just do it in sports, do it in, you know, academics, do it all, and then we'll have a separate arts and sports one as well. So we want 4 African Caribbean people from your school. And then they came forward. We had the first one. We got a little bit of money from the council, and we got a little bit of money from New Deal. I think it was £600 we got. Myrna, Pansy Pantry, she said, I'm going to come and do the food for you. And the schools wrote to all the people, they nominated people. And when I went to, we had it at Lee Manor, the first one at Lee Manor. When I went to the place was packed. It was standing room only.
Wow.
So grandmothers came out, parents came out, brothers and sisters came out, and it was a beauty. Teachers came out, and I was only just doing it to say that, of course, that there must be people who are achieving, and teachers and parents, they all said, no, we got to carry this on each year. So we did carry it on each year, and it was really encouraging, because some of the children that didn't have an award, we gave them a little neckband. We had a speaker, you know, somebody that come in and encourage them, and then we give them their certificate and their neckband. And some of the children, they were like, I want to get one of those next year. And we'd say to them, well, if you try hard at school, you'll get nominated, and and the amount of people who we saw the next year get nominated and get their little neckband, it was lovely, because it lifted, it motivated them. And one thing it done, it pulled out all the high achievers, because there was people that was getting like 8 GCSEs, A stars, and consistently there was just across all the schools really high achievers that were being hidden in this underachievement sort of narrative of the black community, and they were getting their GCSEs in science, chemistry, but so yeah, it just brought out it brought out the people who were achieving. So then we worked with them so that they could come back and motivate the others. And
So when was the first one?
The first one was in oh god, it went for 12 years, I think. 12 years it went. And it finished, we had the last one in 2014. Right. So if you count back from then. And we've done a brochure and we named the pupils and we put in there what they were being awarded for, and we listed their names. I've got every one of those brochures, you know, to say,
obviously a need, isn't it?
It was a need. The place was rammed every year. Every year we were really scared because we were like, oh gosh, it's going to break health and safety. So we moved it from there and we moved it to Chorney, and it full up there. And then we moved it to Lucy Learning Centre. It full up there. Then in the end we had it at Stopsley, and it was about 700 people that were coming. We couldn't even advertise it because just the people alone that were getting the award and their family, it just filled the place to capacity. So it's a real need, and we need to start something back up like that again, you know?
Yeah, encourage the youth, you know, we need to encourage them in that manner.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, and then we done events like Father's Day and like Kwanzaa and like, you know, different social and culture. We got some books in the library. And we linked them with authors and different people that they could get some black books in the library. We worked a lot with people in Bedford as well. So yeah, in the beginning we were fighting many fires, and it's only now that we've managed to be able to say we're not going to fight any fires anymore. We're going to just be proactive and just try to build so that when we, you know, are no longer here, that the young people coming after us has got something in terms of a community structure and some representation, and they're not on the margin or so invisible. So we're doing a lot of Windrush work now, and we're doing, you know, we're linking up nationally. We don't just work in Luton alone. We work with other like-minded black groups, and we sit on the National Windrush Committee to be able to really just represent and advocate on behalf of the people that was caught up in the government's Windrush scandal.
Right. So how is that working? I mean,
any successes yet?
Yeah, we've had loads. Yeah, we've had loads. So I work. One of the ladies there, you might have seen her on the telly, Glenda Caesar. She basically came over from Dominica when she was a babe in arms. And then they said she was working for the GP. She was working for a GP practice, and before the scandal broke, they sacked her because they said that she couldn't prove that she had the right to work. Because when they asked her for her papers, she brought her tax things in, she brought her whatever, she brought her school things in. None of it was good enough. So you know, they ended up sacking her. So she was one of the first people that highlighted that there was a problem. So the government offered her 22,000. Can you imagine? You've been out of work for 10 years because of this, because you couldn't prove your thing, and you was probably earning more money than that per year. So they offered her 22,000, and she told them to go and take a running jump with that 22,000, and to offer her. And she said she went on the news, she went everywhere. And it took her a good few years, and then other people started to come forward. The newspapers got hold of it, but basically she's been offered now, and she's accepted, and she's taken a very good amount, and nothing can compensate for, you know, what
stress.
You went through. Yeah,
is she local, Lorna?
She lives in Hackney, but she came and spoke at the Luton Day that we had the other day. Nice. And I worked really closely with her, and we had a Windrush Day at the town hall the other day for people to come forward. We've done some before when the scandal first broke, but we had one on the 17th of September, and she came and spoke, and some people came forward that in Luton. And there were prominent people. I won't say their names just to keep their confidentiality, but I'm glad that they came forward, and she's now helping them, and the national team are helping them to get their compensation. And I've worked with people, and I worked with somebody that's mum I was helping her to get her status, and the son came and said, oh, I've got my status. And he had some of the documentation, some of the paperwork from the Home Office to help his mum. So I said, we need to do it as a whole family. They moved up from Bradford. So I helped him, and he got awarded nearly £100,000 the other day.
So can I just ask, is it an open and shut case? Because it seems that it should be, but it sounds like there's a fight to get this compensation, and a decent compensation at that.
It's improved a lot because lots of people have been making up noise and going to the council, but it's not. It's quite, and I don't think they've got the capacity to deal with all the cases. But it's improved a lot. It's not open and shut. You've got to go through but it's quite. I've supported people, and they can get their money. And there's 3 ways to get your money. So you can, if you've been impacted, if you couldn't prove your right to stay and they took away your citizenship, and you had any kind of distressment or any kind of loss, it's very easy for you to get some support and write on the paper what that loss was and how you were impacted. And it's £10,000 automatic payment that you'll get first of all. So you'll get the £10,000, and then as they go in your claim, and they will help you to get paperwork and documentation, and all the caps have been lifted. So if you became homeless, or if you even was detained at the suppose you come back from holiday and they held you for half an hour, that's another set of money that you can get. So it adds up. There's 5 categories that you can get, but you can claim for yourself. So you as the primary claimant can claim. And then if your children or brothers and sisters, or if anybody had to help you, because Glenda, when she was out of work for 10 years, her family her kids had to support her. So now that you can have a claim as a close family member, and you can claim in your own right. And then sadly, if people passed away and die, then you can have a bereaved, a deceased estate claim. So your children can still come and claim. So there's 3 ways that you can claim. And I've supported people, and I've seen them getting. In fact, what needs to happen now, because there's a claim coming close up to nearly $250,000. This person had a business, and they lost quite a lot, and people are getting some serious money. And what I actually feel needs to happen now is, because it's so easy to be in debt and just get this, it's like you hear about people winning the lottery, and then a few years later they've lost off all that money, and they're back to their skin again. So what needs to happen is, now people are going to be getting lots and lots of money. They need some financial sort of education of what to do with that money, and how to that's what we're going to be pushing for next, because so even some of the claimants that I've helped, they've lent out money here, they've bought £50 bottles of booze, they went on holiday, and it's they're down to less than half of that money. So
because you're getting it in a lump sum, innit, and you feel like it's a lot, but over the time span, it doesn't really work out so much if you really look at it,
Yeah, that's it. But the good thing about the schemes is that as they improve, so suppose now they've lifted the cap off, that if you was homeless, and they've lifted the cap off, and they've improved the close family member claim. If you was eligible and you got your payout, and then when they make these changes, they come back to you and they give you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what
good.
they've been doing. Yes, it is.
Good.
It is.
Normally it would be a disadvantage to get your payout in the first section before they've adjusted the payment scheme, or like you said, the cap. And I mean, there's a lot of us that's been affected by it still. So I'm glad there's people out there representing them and willing to go out and full 9 yards.
Yeah,
That's where
and
they
you
get their
must come.
compensation.
So Lorna,
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Come, because I know people whose children, they don't know. People think Windrush is, you know, our parents and the elder generation. I know people who, third generation, one of the children would what needed to get a passport to go on a school trip. And you know how they do it? They do it by your mother, your grandparents. And because their family wasn't sorted out properly, nobody knew. They wouldn't, they refused them from having the passport. So now it's not only affecting the pioneer generation and their children, the Windrush people that came over when they were children, it's affecting their children and their grandchildren, even though they were born here.
Third and fourth generation.
Exactly. So come forward, and I'll share some information for you guys, and come forward, and we'll walk with you to apply. You know. Sorry, Mark, you were going to say something, but
yeah, I was saying. So Luton and Bedfordshire, for example, how many people do you reckon have been affected by this? Do you think, or better still, how many people have you actually had to deal with, like it in our community? Is there
we've dealt with about 80 so far. So when we had the first, Jackie done the first one, when it kind of, and about 50 people came to the Carnival Arts Centre, and there was loads of people. There were people that, you know, their parents had gone back home. There was people that were still fighting it. There was people there was even somebody that worked at the university, and she said she had to just stay there and do all these jobs because her mum didn't sort out her thing and she couldn't get another job, you know, so she just had to stay there and do this and do that and do this and do that and do this, you know, like student advisor or chair of this, chair of that, and she couldn't work properly. So 50 people came to that, and we had surgeries. We had the Home Office come down and actually fill out their forms for them and sort out. And then the other day we had about 36 people, 40 people come to the, and then I've had more. I've had people that have come to me and say, I'm not going to come to the events, but I want you to come to my house and help me. That's businesses, shop owners, well-renowned people in Luton and Bedfordshire. They're caught up in this thing, and it isn't any shame. It's no shame, you know.
Not at all.
Because the government changed the rules. The government changed the rules. The government changed the law, and a lot of people are impacted, and all the people that said, okay, well, I neutralized at the time, so I'm not gonna be caught up in it. They could easily undo, just like they've undone it for the people that caught up in it now. They can undo that neutralization, and they're already beginning to do it, because they're already saying that if you get into trouble and you're a criminal and you spend 1 year inside, they can take away your naturalization.
Yeah. So is that mainly to do with clause 9 originally?
I don't know what clause it is. I don't know, but they've changed the law recently to say that. But people are fighting it. Lawyers and people are fighting it and saying it's a breach of human rights, and they've already been punished, and they shouldn't take. It should have nothing to do with their citizenship, sort of thing. But but we've supported maybe about
that's the part.
Say it again.
No, I was just saying that's a part of the nationality and borders bill, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is gonna affect, like you said, third and fourth generation, you know, those born here with parents born here still.
Yeah. But it's a con, because they were British colonies, and when they were British when they came here, in terms of that, Britain went there and colonized many places. So, and when you look at it, it's very inconsistent the way they meter out the
it's one-sided.
So
Jamaica, we need you.
Jamaica, you need a passport. If you live, Jamaica is the only Caribbean island that you need a visa, not a passport, a visa to come to the UK. No other Caribbean island you need a visa. So this is where they're beginning to pick and choose and say, you know, and we can't allow it. I will be fighting this till the day I die. I'm not going to give it up. I'm going to keep going, because it was such a terrible, terrible, wrong thing that they done. You know, so so we do a lot of like institutional racist work to try to, you know, tackle that. And first of all, it started local with the council and with the health authorities and that, and now it's going to government, you know, and we've had to link up with other Black organisations around the place to be stronger.
Is that around the UK, yeah?
Yeah. So there's Coventry, Manchester, Preston, Birmingham, quite a few places that we've got, that we work with on this Windrush. So yeah, so has anybody got any more questions or anything that they want me to cover, or that they want me to...
I've got a question. You're also a part of, what is it, the Luton Sankofa UK, where you're supposed to be the director of operations. What's that about?
How do you know all of this? Have you been Googling me?
Due diligence.
I've done my due diligence.
Yeah, right. Well, that is Councillor Jackie. Jackie's the vice chair of ACCDF, and we do so much work together. We do everything together, basically, and that is about honouring the people who died in slavery. You know, in 2007, ACCDF, it was the 200th year of the it's called the bicentenary of the abolition of slavery, and we joined up with about 30 groups, and we had a year-long activity of events with quite a few people was involved. Pauline Kathleen Reid, she was involved. Sandra Glenn was involved. Jennifer Sutherland was involved, and another Pauline was involved, to, you know, all working with ACCDF. And we put on that, we had a civic event, we had a parade, a march, we got a plaque that, so if you go by the library, you'll see a blue plaque, and it's we got that for all the enslaved people that suffered and died in Bedfordshire. So we basically have always been doing work to honour our ancestors that went through their Holocaust, and we you know, we're quite big on that. So we couldn't do the work on our own, so we launched out to the community, and a few other people came back, and we set up the Sankofa group to carry on that work. And every year we have a commemoration. It's uplifting. It's not, you know, a lot of people are embarrassed
the last
about.
one, Lorna, is very good, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
It was a nice evening.
Yeah.
Must admit.
Thank you. We tried to make it educational. We tried to bring our pride up. We tried to really, you know, honour our heroes, and yeah, just really and do it for the young people. So we like the young children, they read, they light candles, and you know, everybody's honouring their ancestors and honouring their Holocaust, and we should be doing the same, because nothing as atrocious as that has happened to any other race, really. So, and what we're trying to do is do it from what we know, and bridge the gap, so between the African and the Caribbean. So my director of operation is just really about coordinating the whole event. And we've got a chair, Jackie's the chair, Diane Marquis Solomon is the vice chair. We've got researchers that research the information. So I sort of put the programme together and make sure that everybody's supported to do whatever their role is, and so that we can deliver a good event. So that's what I love organising, and I've got a lot of experience with organising. So that's the big fancy posh title for coordinating and organising the event.
Yeah. Okay.
Project manager. Yeah.
That involves all the Caribbean islands, then, yeah, and Africa as well.
Yes, it does. But we're making links this year. Actually, we're making links. We've got a link with Haiti and South America and Brazil, because you know, most of the enslaved people, they didn't go to North America. They went to Brazil, South America. Yeah. So we're trying to get the history and just bring back what we lost. It's called Sankofa because Sankofa is. The word Sankofa means, I'm sure you know, it's not wrong to go back in history and pick up something that you've forgotten. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get a good understanding of our history.
Our ancestors.
Quick question.
Sure.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, so Lorna, you might know with your organisation in Sankofa. So basically, Hibbett Street, innit? That's a slave owner's name, innit?
Yeah.
Are we working on getting that changed? Is that a possibility? What do you reckon?
Yeah. We got Crawley changed because Crawley is another one.
Was it?
And Hibbett Street, it went out to consultation. We need all you lot to come and help us. It went out to consultation, because you have to pay to change the title deeds. The residents came back and said they didn't want the name to be changed. So we did raise it, and Hazel Simmons, the leader of the council, and the rest of the councillors, they did put it out and say, yeah, they want to, and they did say why. But I don't think they've done it with any real good valor, because what we said to them is we since have gone back and gone to the Church of England, because that's another people who profited very much. And we said to them, yeah, you need to pay the people them to change the title deeds so that they won't oppose the name change. So we're still on it. We can't bring it back up until a few more months, because it's got to last a bit of time before you go back again.
But Crawley, what? Crawley?
Yeah, Crawley's name is changed now. Crawley's name, is to Vauxhalls or something like that. Because Crawley, that's another slave owner in Luton.
Crawley Road's still there, Berry Park, man. That ain't changed.
Yeah, that one has just come through to say
Crawley
that
Green.
Crawley Green.
Yeah, there's a few words that have to change.
It hasn't changed yet, but meaning when it takes a long time. Meaning that they've said yes, they're going to change it.
Yeah.
I'm sure the rubbish. The refuge collectors. There's a company Crawley, right at the top of Selborne Road, but it's actually on Waller Avenue.
But whether they're linked to that family or not, but the Crawley name is a very famous name in Luton. It's like an old land owner's name, innit? Yeah. And so you've got all of this, Crawley, that. You know what I mean? I don't know if those refuge people are the same family. Might be.
You should look into Britannia Estates as well. You should look into Britannia Estates as well.
Yeah, what they involved in it as well?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Now, Britannia Estates used to be the old Skefco site, isn't it?
No, Britannia Estates runs all the way from Leagrave Road all the way up to Sunderland.
Yeah, but it used to be Skefco, isn't it?
No, it's but it runs all the way almost to Luton, and then all the way up to the end of Sunderland Park Road.
What, all of that land, you mean?
Yeah, all the land, including the green area, before you turn off to go to Tollington.
Yeah.
There's loads. Has anybody here searched? Has anybody searched Luton Who?
Yeah, that's more Russian thing, isn't it?
That's the Majesty's government, isn't it?
The Russians.
Because they were landowners and they took over a lot of the land, and I'm sure that we've got some. It needs research. These are some of the things that we need to.
It was built by some old prime minister. It's built by some old prime minister, and then he sold it to the Russian royal family, innit? When the Russian Revolution took place, he sold it to them.
Right, but we have to look at the prime ministers.
The grandson committed suicide.
Who committed suicide?
Grandson Nicholas Phillips. He got into debt when he was building Capability Green, and he topped himself. Yeah,
right.
And then
it's the prime minister's mark, because when you look at slavery, what happened was the people that was enslaved, they were criminals, they were in prison, and they said to them, you can either go, there's all this untapped land in the Caribbean and everywhere, you can either go over there and do your indentured work and we'll pay you, or you will or you get hanged the next day. So the people they went over there, and they were criminals, and they was indentured servants, and they worked and they worked off their sentence, and then they stayed there and they became the plantation owners. They bought land and they stayed there, and then that's why a lot of them were so cruel. And then when they came back now, they were despised. Nobody never really liked them in wealthy society. So they bought their way in to be into Parliament. They gave loads of gifts, and they bought most of the people that were in Parliament at that time. They got very strong links with slavery.
Yeah, because
So
a
it
lot
doesn't
of it
matter
is
that.
Caribbean, and we just see look Pirates of the Caribbean. There you go, in it. So you just
Yeah.
know where they're coming from, innit? It's linked to a lot of criminality, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know?
definitely.
Yeah, so we're digging to just try to, because what we're saying is that we've built up Britain twice. Once in slavery, they wouldn't have had all that. They wouldn't be the 5th richest country in the world, and they wouldn't have had all that free cotton. They wouldn't have had that industrial revolution if they didn't have all that free, you know, labor and that. And
we own a percentage of Britain, man.
Of course we do.
absolutely.
Of course we do.
And then
Definitely.
they came again, Windrush, and built it up again. And then where are we getting any looking to say we own a share?
At the
So
bottom of the pile, and
where do
fair
you
enough.
stand? Sorry,
Even more than that, sorry, they want to kick you out on top of that.
on top of that.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot for your work, but see you later.
And made you pay
Mm.
taxes. And made you
And you
pay
pay
taxes
taxes, yeah.
to your people, to the ancestors who enslaved you.
Right, that only just got paid the other day.
That's a liberty, isn't it?
That's a joke.
So what's your stand on the reparations movement then, Lorna? What do you think?
Yeah, I think things are not given, they're taken. And I think, you know, they're not gonna make themselves poor to give us things. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do think that we need to, I used to be like, yeah, I just don't think we should be asking them for reparations. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't think they're not gonna give back out of their, if you look at all what the Queen has got from, if you look at all of, they're not going to just turn around and give it to us, you know.
Yeah,
so,
but at least remove the hurdles, the obstacles. You understand? Give us the opportunity, give us the chance.
Yeah,
even if they don't give us back no money to.
Well, they should be cancelling debts, innit, to certain countries.
That's what
I mean.
That's what I agree with.
Yeah, cancel these debts. Do you know what I mean? Give them the chance to build up themselves.
So how do you think? How much do you think that we deserve, Lorna, in reparation?
Well, it's hard to calculate. I know the West Indies, the University of West Indies, they've done some. So Hilary Beckles, he's done some really good work with calculating and giving a figure. I don't know the figure myself, but I know the rationale, how they've looked and said, you know,
it's got to be more than 3 acres and a mule.
I know Jamaica is asking for what 50 billion or something ridiculous like that. Something minuscule as 50 billion. It's nothing.
Yeah,
it's nothing.
It doesn't cover it, does it?
That's what they're asking for. There, you know? That's what I heard anyway.
Yeah, and I just think it's a very deep. I think we've just got to really look at how we get on in their system. We can't really, because their system is big and sort of exuberant because of us. It's extracted everything from us, and we're sort of like topping it up and keeping it going, you know. So we've got to look at how we function within this system in a way that benefits us, and not keep on giving their system, making their system rich at our expense, you know.
We contribute so much in their economy, and we need to contribute to our own.
The more we contribute, the less likely there will be reparations anyway. That's what we're assisting our
own demise.
Our demise. That's what it is. Yeah.
But what's the alternative? We have to get our heads together, don't we?
That's it.
And think about an alternative. But yeah, so you're all invited to come to the next Luton Sankofa event. We have that in March. And it would be an honor to have you come and come through the commemoration with us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
That'd be good.
Any more questions for Lorna before we start to wrap up?
Yeah, Lorna, I don't know if you remember me actually. I
do. I do remember you. I was going to say hi, Steve, and then I saw that you've changed your name to Abdul.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, nice one. How are you doing?
Well, it could be doing much better than I am, but yeah, as it says, life has its ups and downs and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. It's really good, and you're looking well.
Oh, thanks. I can't remember where you worked. Where I actually saw you. First time I saw you when you were.
It was at the Mental Health Trust in Luton at the for Bedfordshire. I was a community development worker to improve services for the African Caribbean community, and to make sure that people were happy with the service that they were getting, and they made our whole team redundant. So I left there, and I just focused more on the charity work. That I really love doing the charity work. It doesn't really pay, so if you guys got a wad of money somewhere.
So we were looking to ACCDF to see if you lot had any.
I can put in for funding for you, and to help to develop you and to help. I can certainly do that, but we haven't got, we just do this from the goodness and the love of our heart. It's a labor of love. We don't get paid, the trustees, but we get money for projects, and we run projects. So I'll certainly be interested with supporting you, and just keep the link, and we'll see what projects we can put in for funding for and develop. Yeah,
because something that Marvin has previously said as well, there's so many other groups that are here in our community, and we do really need to come together and work together.
Absolutely.
And do things better for each other, Definitely.
We do, but we just have to work with like-minded people. You don't want to work with people who's going to be arguing. You want to work with people who will just get the work done, and we all have to come and do our little bit, because no one person can do it on their own. But we've been doing it for 1998 we set up, so 24 years we've been running, and we've made some good impacts, and we mean to continue. And the last thing I'll let you know is we set up a young group now called United Luton Caribbean and African Committee. They're called ULCAC, and we've given them the Civic Day, Windrush Day event to do at the town hall in June, and we're kind of mentoring them and supporting them, so that the next generation of voices can understand about this whole, this whole work, and they can be leaders. So we're still carrying on.
That's great work.
And then finally, Lorna, as well, could you have a quick word with Jackie when you get a moment? Tell her, we still want her to come through. And you could tell her it wasn't that bad.
It was lovely.
We've had Mr. Gilbert, so we need her now, to be honest, to balance out the thing,
Both sides of the story,
Jackie's a Jackie's a warrior. You'll enjoy when Jackie comes. She'll have a good, lovely conversation with you. So it's lovely to be. How long have you guys been together? How long has this group been going?
Since January.
Yeah.
Right. Well done. Keep it going.
Every single week.
Well done. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I'm going to try my best and support you. Do what I can.
Thank you.
So just link me and keep up the good work. Yeah, it's really nice to see all the beautiful smiling faces. And we have to encourage each other, especially now as things are getting tougher.
That's right.
We're coming from that. We're coming from hardship, and we know our parents knew how to deal with things, and they've done it by sticking together. Yeah. So I really do agree with what you're saying, that we have to, work together. So.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Lorna.
Thank you, Lorna.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for remembering me, Abdul, and take care, everybody. It's really nice.
You're a very distinctive person, actually. Very distinctive.
Really?
Definitely.
You shouldn't say distinctive to a lady. You should say beautiful and pretty.
That's what I mean.
I'm only joking. I'm only kidding with you, man. I'm just messing with you. Well, I hope to see you guys soon again. Yeah, and invite, if you have anything, invite us and we'll come along. Okay?
All right.
We'll come and support you.
Yeah.
All right. Take care. Blessings, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.